Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. We are back for another live show as usual, same day, same time, every day. Let's get to it. Now, today we're going to be talking about Noni Madueke. We have breaking news on Noni Madueke. I mean, bad news for many Arsenal fans. It's looking very likely that you're going to get Noni Madueke at Arsenal. There's also news on Viktor Gyökeres as always and Max Dowman. What's the latest on all of these guys? And then we'll talk a bit about Eze and Rodrygo as well. So let's get started with Noni Madueke and the breaking news on him. What's the latest on him? Let's get started with Noni. So this is what Fabrizio reported earlier today. Arsenal will have direct talks with Chelsea soon to discuss Noni Madueke deal. There's a gap in valuation between the clubs, but negotiations will now follow to understand if or how to proceed. Noni Madueke has agreed a 5-year contract with Arsenal as revealed. So, I mean, we watched him yesterday again, last night coming off the bench. I mean, for Chelsea's point of view, like if he didn't leave, it would be very, very weird because this is a player who's already said, yeah, I'm going to go. I'm leaving. I'm happy to go to Arsenal. I want to play for Arsenal. So it would be so weird for him to go back to Chelsea. Now, 5-year contract is already agreed to join Arsenal. He wants to join Arsenal. Not sure what he's been told. There's going to be a backup for Saka, where there's going to play a few games on the left side as a starter. Not sure what Madueke has actually been told, but it's now looking very, very likely that Madueke will join Arsenal unless Chelsea like completely refuse to reduce the money that Madueke or diffuse money asking price for Madueke. Sorry. So let's get to what David Dunstan has had to say about this just an hour ago. Arsenal make contact with Chelsea over move for Noni Madueke. So contact has been made when David Dunstan and Fabrizio confirm it. Yeah, it's that transfer definitely has legs. So he goes on to say, club now in talks after the 23-year-old club CFC winger agreed personal terms on proposed 5-year contract. No deal yet, but England international prioritizing Arsenal above any other interested sides. So this definitely has legs. It's already confirmed when Fabrizio and David confirm it. This definitely has legs. I wouldn't even be surprised if he signed Madueke. Now, Arsenal were ready to offer 40 million for him. Chelsea wants more than 50 million for him. Arsenal crazy enough to go all the way to 50 million. Where is Madueke going to fit at Arsenal? Is he going to be a backup for Saka? Is he going to be a starting left winger? I don't like Madueke as a left winger at all anyway, so that would be a disastrous signing or approach for me for sure. Now, let's get to what David Dunstan had to say in the article. So he says, Arsenal have made contact with Chelsea over signing Noni Madueke. The clubs are now in talks as reported on Saturday. Arsenal have already agreed personal terms with the winger of a proposed 5-year deal. Madueke is prioritizing the North London side over any other options. He also goes on to say, let me change that. He also goes on to say that Madueke has played for 6 times for Chelsea this season, including 5 times in the Club World Cup in the USA and 32 of the 38 Premier League games. So he does feature a lot for Chelsea, whether it's off the bench or he does start, whatever. In those games, he has registered 11 goals and 5 assists, an improvement on his 8 goals and 4 assists from 23-24 season. This is not the first time that Chelsea and Arsenal have engaged over a transfer this summer, with goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga joining the side after they triggered the 5 million release clause. This is so crazy that this time we've gone even better. We've now gone for 2 Chelsea players in one transfer window, not even one. That is so crazy. Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca twice chose to leave him out of the matchday squad in the 24-25 Premier League season. Madueke was dropped for the 3-0 win of Aston Villa in December for his performance in training. That is definitely concerning. And again, for the defeat by Fulham later that month in what Maresca called a technical decision. The Englishman joined Chelsea from PSV in January 2023 after also representing Tottenham and Crystal Palace at youth level. Madueke made his debut in 2024, and then, yeah, they go on to say that. And then they kind of break down what kind of Madueke gives to you. So they say Madueke is a direct dribbler who thrives in 1-versus-1 situations and is able to play on either flank, with the majority of his minutes coming down the right wing. Arsenal's focus on attacking those area plays to Madueke's profile, and his ability out wide would offer an additional option and the chance to rest Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli more often. Madueke's dribbling is the most eye-catching part of his game, with his speed and ability to go both ways being vital. Last season, 33% of his total carries in the Premier League were progressive, defined as carries greater than 5 meters and move the ball at least 5 meters forward the opposition goal. Only Jeremy Doku had a higher share among players who played at least 900 minutes. So they're saying Wait, let me read that part again. Last season, that 3% of his total carries in the Premier League were progressive. So apart from Doku, he made more progressive carries. And then, yeah, they're going to break down more. But yeah, we already know the kind of player that Madueke is. We do watch him. I mean, yes, stats are important, but also eye test is important if you combine the two of them. So we are going to make a bid for Madueke. Now it depends on whether we are going to make that bid that Chelsea is going to accept, or whether we are going to, start from a lower area fast and then see how it goes, and then see if Chelsea is going to accept, see if Chelsea is going to reduce the price. Now, would he have been my first player to go for? Definitely not. If you had to ask me to get wingers, I'd be telling you about Rodrygo, Lookman. If you had to ask me to get backups for Saka, I'd be telling you Bakayoko from PSV. I'd be telling you Kubo from Real Sociedad. I'd even be telling you Adingra from Brighton. Like, I'd have a lot of other options ahead of Madueke, but they've looked at Madueke and they've said that's the player that they want as a backup. The price is very concerning, though. As I said 3 days ago, if you sign Eze, Rodrygo, and Gyokeres, you can get whoever else you want. But the problem is, my fear is, if you go and spend that 50 million on Madueke and it doesn't work out, and you maybe didn't have enough money to buy Eze after that. And another worry about this is, the other teams will see you spending 50 million on Madueke, and Crystal Palace will be like, "No, you just pay us the 68 million that we want. Why do you want to negotiate? If you paid 50 million for Madueke, you might as well pay us 68 million for Eze, unless they have a plan and they know they're going to get all of those players." Well and good, but 50 million for Madueke is a lot of money, and it's not even just 50 million, man. It's more than that. Matt Law says Arsenal have made background checks and spoken to people who have worked with Noni Madueke and are now expected to approach Chelsea directly. It remains to be seen if the valuation of background checks have impacted their interest. And I don't know where the Ben Jacobs one said. Ben Jacobs basically said Chelsea won 55 million for Madueke. That is a lot of money, man. However way you look at it, 55 million for Madueke is a lot of money. If they end up paying that, that is so crazy. 55 million is a lot of money. Is not a signing a lot of Arsenal fans would want. If you check the comments, there's a couple who say, Arsenal have always wanted a backup for Saka. That is true. People are saying, he's Premier League experience. That is true. People are saying he's still young. That is also true. But the problem is, people will always talk about it because it's another player from Chelsea, and you've seen how most of them recently have gone. Clear examples, very, very good examples. Very good example is Sterling just recently, and Willian in 2020. They couldn't even survive a season because it didn't work out completely with them. And then obviously the price. If Madueke was like 15 million, maybe people would be like, okay, whatever, let's take him. But for 50 million, and also the fact that we haven't signed the players that we require the most yet, the players like Gyokeres and players like Eze, then people will always ask, what is happening? Why are we spending 50 million on Madueke? And the truth is, it always seems that whenever it comes to a Chelsea player, the money is always there, But when it comes to like an Eze or Rodrygo, we're like, nah, the money's not there. But when it comes to a Chelsea player, like, we splash 60 million right away. So that is, people will always talk about that. But again, another thing I don't like is that they're speaking about Madueke being a starting left winger. If that is the plan, you rather just keep Trossard and Martinelli the way I wanted, and you just keep them there and you forget about anything else. You just focus on the other positions, because as a starting left winger, I'm not sure, man. I don't like him as a starting left winger. It's just like Martinelli and Trossard on the right. I don't like them on the right side. So it's not one that Arsenal fans would be happy about for sure. I mean, always says Madueke will help our team depth. He will, but 50 million is a lot of money, and it's not even just about squad depth. It's also about they're talking about him being a starter, so it's not even just like a bench player or anything like that. But for 55 million, I mean, personally, I would have other options. That is my point. I don't have a problem with that signing a right winger, left winger, attacking midfield. That is what I want, actually. But the problem is, you're spending a lot of money on that, and then we know our Arsenal, the way we move. We could hear in the next couple of weeks that we don't have enough money for Eze, and then everyone will be like, Eze was 68 million. Why did you go and spend 55 million on Madueke if you knew that you aren't going to get Eze? Now that's the concern. If that happened, and even worse, if Madueke did not perform at Arsenal, then I mean, it would be really bad. It would be really bad, and not just for even especially for Arteta. Like, I mean, he knows there's a lot of pressure this season. Like, would he just accept deals like this, knowing that if he doesn't perform this well, people will be turning on him? But that is the latest on Madueke. We've made contact with him, according to David Onstein and Fabrizio. And Matt Law said we've had that all the background checks. And Ben Jacob said Chelsea want close to 55 million for Madueke, almost the same as what Elanga's gone to for Newcastle to Newcastle. So let me go to the next piece of news, and that is on Viktor Gyökeres. Now, Sky Sports today have reported that while Arsenal and Sporting aren't too far away from a compromise, I'm hearing the gap could be less than 5 million. The gap, what they want and what we want. I mean, they started by saying they want close to 80 million, and Arsenal are ready to offer them like 50 something million. So I don't know what they're going to agree on, but that is what Sky Sports have said. The Gunners will be disciplined in their approach and have done due diligence on their other targets for if a deal cannot be struck. Now, I do not like reading that last part, that a deal has to be struck. Sesko is already staying at Leipzig. There's no other plan C or plan D. It is getting this guy or no, and it has to be this guy. So that is what Sky Sports have had to say. The gap is not too big. I'm hearing it's like 4 million, 5 million. Some other people are saying it's like around 10 million. Now, what Arsenal is not going to do, obviously, we already know, Arsenal are not just going to go and pay the money. We know that. They're going to, penny pinch and try to get the best deal completely. Now, again, I have no problem with that. As long as Gyökeres is here before preseason, Andrea Bata can do the work the way he wants. If he wants to, take another couple of weeks to get the deal done, that is absolutely fine. As long if you can get him for 56 million and not get him for 70, that is fine. You can take as much time as you want, as long as by the time you get to preseason against AC Milan, Gyökeres is in the Arsenal shirt and you're not still trying to look for a striker, because at that point is when now you start getting desperate and you're like, oh my goodness, Watkins has already gone to a different team, Sesko has already signed a new contract at Leipzig, Gyökeres is not coming, and this deal is literally there for us. There's no team right now that is trying to get Gyökeres because they know he definitely wants to join Arsenal. The player's already packed his bags, the player wants to join Arsenal, the player's already confirmed to Sporting that he wants to join Arsenal, the player's already given up his own money. There's reports out there that the player's left his girlfriend so that he can join Arsenal. Like, there's no going back from this one. We cannot just say, nah, we'll just go for someone different. No, it has to be Gyökeres, and that is what Sky Sports have had to say. The gap is not too big. Chris Whitley says Arsenal's deal for Viktor Gyökeres is likely to be finalized before the club's summer preseason tour. That is all I need. If he's here before preseason, I'm absolutely fine. Doesn't have to be today. As long as he's here before preseason, I'm fine with that. Those close to the deal say it's an advanced stage and expect the financial issues to be resolved in the coming days. So today is Wednesday. If we can get it done before the end of the week, that is fine. Absolutely no problem. But hopefully can get it done as quickly as possible. When we've been wanting a striker for so long, and you just know you're going to have to wait a few more days before you get Gyökeres through the door. It's all about money. The player wants to join Arsenal. We've already agreed to give him 200,000 per week, so that one is done as well. The player knows it's going to be a definite starter at Arsenal. Like, all of those other things is not a problem. The only thing is about, and Sporting already targeting other strikers. Sporting already open to selling Gyökeres, but it's all about the money. If Sporting want 70 million pounds and Arsenal only want to pay 56 million pounds plus some add-ons, then a compromise has to be reached. Either Arsenal gets to that 70 million or Sporting go down to like 65, and then we can agree on that. So hopefully we get it done this week and it don't take too much longer, because this is a player that we really need. And when Arsenal fans see all these other signings getting done like Madueke, and we've not got Gyökeres done yet, that is obviously concerning. So that is what Chris Whitley has had to say. Now, reports from Portugal say the Arsenal delegation returned back to London without an agreement for Viktor Gyökeres. There was no talks yesterday, and neither club has approached the other for a resolution yet. So they said yesterday it went quiet. So I guess Arsenal are looking at what they're going to do before going back for Gyökeres. Hopefully it's done this week, though. Hopefully we complete the deal this week. We don't know how harsh Sporting are going to be. Maybe Sporting are just not going to move, and they're going to say it's either you pay that 75 million, 80 million, or you're not going to sell him completely. Now, it helps when Gyökeres keeps pushing for the move. It definitely helps, because Sporting will get an easy, and we are going into the middle of July. So Sporting will need to get a replacement, so they'll want the deal to be quickly done so that they can move on and all that. And the player doesn't want to play there. I think some players already back in preseason for Sporting, the preseason training, but Gyökeres has not gone back, so that's not a player who's going to go back to play for Sporting. At the moment, I'm not worried about any other teams coming in for him because they already know that he wants to join Arsenal. He's already decided to join Arsenal. But we want it to be done as quickly as possible. The relief of getting a striker, the relief of getting one of the best strikers in the world right now, the relief will be so high, man. And that will allow me to be like, okay, listen, you've gotten Gyokeres, you've gotten Eze, you can go and get Madueke if you want. If you can also get Rodrygo, that is good enough. But at the moment, because we've not gotten a left winger yet, we've not gotten a striker yet, we've not gotten a number 10 yet, we've not gotten, Eze yet, we've not finalized the Mosquera deal yet. Obviously, getting Madueke that quickly, that will be concerning for fans. They'll be like, why are we getting this guy fast before I'm completing the deal for Gyokeres? So let's see if you get any other, because on Monday, when Fabrizio reported it, he said you can actually get a here we go as soon as today, which was Monday. So he said, literally, listen, this guy's already talking. It's already advanced. I'm going to give you a here we go today or even tomorrow. So Fabrizio was very sure that this deal was very close, and other journalists as well. So I guess it's just all about money. I don't think Arsenal are just going to go and pay that money for him. We are going to have to wait and see how the deal, how Sporting, compromise with what you're trying to do. But hopefully we do get Gyokeres, man. You've seen the response from the other clubs, the other teams, and the other fans. They know. If you watch what Chelsea fans have been saying, Gyokeres, that kind of scares me. My United fans have gone into, they've almost started a riot because the Gyokeres is wanting to join Arsenal and they want Calvert-Lewin. Like, this would be so big for us. This would be the first time in a long time that we have a striker who other opposition teams are worried about. I mean, I'll never forget, Van Dijk did an interview and he was asked about, it was like 2 seasons ago or something, and he was asked, do the Arsenal strikers, when you're competing for the title and all that, I think that was 2 seasons ago. He was asked, do you lose sleep when you're about to play Arsenal? Is there any Arsenal forward that gives you a tough time? And he said no. His answer was no. He's like, nah, I'm okay. But when you ask him about Man City, he'd be like, well, yeah, and I'm about to play Haaland, I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do here? That is what he said. Van Dijk, the player that we are competing with to try and win a title, he said, nah, there's no one who's going to, who worries him. And at that point, we had players like Nketiah and Jesus. And that is the truth. We've never really had a player recently that gives players sleepless nights. If you're about to play against Mbappe, you're going to need, think about the offside trap, how are you going to play it, the pace and all that. You're going to have to think about it. When we had Aubameyang, opposition teams had to think about, Aubameyang, what are we going to do about this one? When we had Van Persie, these other teams had to think about, Van Persie can hit a volley from outside of the box. How are you going to sort that out? But recently, we haven't had that. They just know if you mark Saka and you probably play out they get out of the game on that right side, that is it. Arsenal not going to be a threat at all, and that has turned out to be the case. Now, if you have Gyokeres there, even if they can't just say let's just mark Saka. No, they know if the ball gets to Gyokeres, they're in trouble. They know if they allow Odegaard that space to pass the ball to Gyokeres, they're in trouble. So you give the opposition a lot of players to think about, a lot of different bad things that can happen to them on that pitch. So get a player like Gyokeres in a very, very good situation, and that will kind of maybe even worry Liverpool and Man City, the team that you're supposed to compete with. So I think for Gyokeres, you just have to get it done. It cannot be anyone else. It cannot be Vlahovic. It cannot be Calvert-Lewin. It cannot be Callum Wilson. It cannot be any of those guys. So that's the latest on Gyokeres. Let's see if we get any more updates today and tomorrow. What's the latest on Max Dowman? According to Chris Whitley, Max Dowman wants to stay at Arsenal, and talks are already underway over him signing a pre-professional contract when he turns 16 in December. So that was good news on Max Dowman and Nwaneri. It's looking like they're both going to sign new contracts. Hopefully we finalize that Nwaneri one, because it looks like we're signing Madueke, and Chelsea wanted this guy like in return. Hopefully you do not do anything crazy like that. But it's looking likely that both Nwaneri and Dowman are going to sign new contracts. That would be great. Alongside Lewis Kelly and Gabriel, that would be good in terms of keeping those players. Hopefully we make progress on Saliba and Saka as well. But Max Dowman staying, that will be big news. Obviously, how often will he feature next season? Probably not that much, but I wish you could see him a couple of times in the Carabao Cup or something, or in the FA Cup, and hopefully pre-season as well. We have games against Tottenham, Newcastle, and AC Milan in Asia, and we're going to have the Emirates Cup against Bilbao, and you're also going to play Villarreal at the Emirates Stadium. So hopefully we do get to see him somewhere there playing for us. So that's the latest today. Now for Eze, someone mentioned in the morning, not quite reliable, so that's why I've not talked about it. But someone mentioned that Arsenal are already ready to make a bid for Eze. Is that going to happen same time with Madueke, same time with Gyökeres? I don't know. This is the first time like we were not told how much the budget is. The last couple of seasons, we've always had an idea. The season where we signed Rice and Havertz, we were told Arsenal have around 250 million. Last season, we were told like 150, 200 million. This is the first time that we haven't had anything about how much Arsenal have in terms of budget. We are guessing because it depends on how you look at it. If you look at the signings that we've made so far, you'd be like, do we really have enough money? Because 5 million on a goalkeeper, 10 million on a midfielder, we are going to pay 20 million on a defender, and it's not looking like we're paying a lot of money. But if you look at it as we may be saving money, we are trying to go for the forward players for that kind of money. And if you think maybe these players that we are trying to go for right now, there's a chance we could actually get all of them because of the Champions League money that we got, because of the sales we sold Ramsdale, we sold Smith Rowe, and all these guys have never really used that money. And there's obviously players that have also left recently, players like Tavares, and we might end up selling other players in the team as well. It's going to be interesting, man. But hopefully the Gyökeres one, can they just get the Gyökeres one done for me as soon as possible? That is what happens. I hope Gyökeres does not collapse. Hopefully, look. I mean, at the moment, it's good because there's no other team that is going in for him. And Gyökeres wants to leave Sporting. The problem would have been if Gyökeres was also happy to stay at Sporting and then you don't push hard for him. Gyökeres could easily have said, okay, I'm just going to stay here. But he really wants to leave there, and that makes it a bit easier for Arsenal that he really, really wants to leave Sporting, but you have to agree on the money. They're not just going to sell him. For me, actually, Gyökeres is an 85 million pound player. So if you get him for that 56, 60 million, it's actually crazy. Good afternoon to you, Ibrahim. Cooper watching from Liberia. Musonda says a good addition to the team depth, Madueke. How are you doing, Ike? Thank you for being here as always. Watching from Liberia, says Emmanuel. We go for Madueke instead of Victor for real. Arsenal is a joke, says Joseph. I think they're trying to get both of them done at the same time. I think we're still going to get Gyökeres, even if we get Madueke. The worry about getting Madueke is, I'm thinking if they get Madueke, are they really going to go and get Rodrygo? Even if Rodrygo becomes available at the beginning of August or something, will Arsenal tell us, we didn't have enough money. We already got Madueke, already signed Gyökeres, you already signed Zubimendi, didn't have enough money. Because at that point, people will be like, why did you spend 55 million on Madueke when you could have waited, a couple of more weeks to spend that 70 million on Rodrygo? When is Cristhian Nørgaard announced as an Arsenal player? Today or tomorrow. Let's see. Madueke will help our team depth. Let's see. Simon says, buy Gyökeres, Rodrygo, and Eze, then give Noni a new contract. I think we're going to buy Gyökeres. I think you're going to give Noni a new contract. I'm hoping we're going to get Eze. For Rodrygo, that one I don't know. That one for Rodrygo, and I'm like 30% confident he's going to be an Arsenal player, because we don't know if he's going to leave Madrid first of all. And obviously, we are now starting to hear that PSG also want Rodrygo, Bayern Munich also want Rodrygo. So that one, for that one, the cost is not clear. For Gyökeres, the cost is clear. Go and get him. No one else is there. For Rodrygo, the cost is not clear completely. There's also mentions about teams in Saudi Arabia. There's also mentions that Arsenal will need to sell Martinelli to get Rodrygo. So for the Rodrygo one, it looks like it's still has a long way to go. Letty says our priorities are not right. A striker, please. Halima says Madueke will not help anywhere. He will be another Sterling. Hopefully not, because Sterling was free. So that was it was bad, but it was kind of okay because we never really signed Sterling. But Madueke for 55 million, if he becomes like Sterling, that one will really hurt. Let's see. What about the Victor deal? We've talked about that one. Sheriff. Nwaneri is better than Madueke, says Simon. I have to agree. What is going on with Eze? They're saying Arsenal are continuing with the negotiations. They don't really want to pay that 68 million. They want to drop the release clause down, or they want to negotiate for it. Rodrygo, Eze, and Gyökeres is enough for me, says Samson. Rexon says, Glenn, this Victor transfer is taking just too long. Arsenal has to complete this deal as soon as possible before things go the other way. Hopefully this week. Today is Wednesday. Hopefully finalize it this week. Arsenal just posted that the players are back in training. And today is Wednesday. When is today? July 9th. Yeah, I think they were coming back this week, but I didn't know which particular day. So I don't know if everyone was coming back at the same time, because usually when there's other competitions, people come back at different times. But because there's no big competition this season, apart from the Euro Under-21s for Nwaneri, I think they might come back, all of them, today. Now, ideally, would have wanted Gyokeres to be part of that group coming today. I also don't know if Zubimendi has joined the team today in terms of training, and Kepa and all these guys. But this is why you'd want Gyokeres to be there already. So hopefully you get it done by this week. So we need to start doing deals because of personal new signing should fill the way we play. Don't be surprised if Gyokeres didn't come. No, I'm still confident he's going to come, but I'm not confident it's going to happen very quickly. They're still going to take a lot of time to try to reduce the money. So for Rodrygo, I'm 30% is going to be an Arsenal player. For Gyokeres, I'm 90% is going to be an Arsenal player. So because of everything that has been going on, like everything like is pointing towards him joining Arsenal, and the fact that there's no other team that is there because Gyokeres just wants to join Arsenal and he's basically fallen out with the whole of Sporting. He doesn't want to play for them completely. And we've already, they've already been told that Sesko is not going to leave. So that was our plan A. Our plan B was Gyokeres. There's no one else there. So, and it's not like they're asking for like 100 million. If it was like 100 million, then you'd have been saying, you never know. But I'm still confident it will happen. Watching you from Nigeria, says Johanna, thank you. Bring Gyokeres as a Rodrygo, please, says Cristhian. Gabriel says, Andrea Bata means business this isn't coming in his hours if you have all required players. Yeah, for me, I'm not going to say anything about Bata or Atita right now. I'm going to give them, especially Bata, because he's been at Arsenal for 3 months. I'm going to give him all the time that he needs, if that is how he does his business. As long as we know when we play against AC Milan, when we play against, I would like them in before preseason. So as long as before that game against AC Milan, and whenever you're playing Man United at the beginning of the season, Gyokeres is there, and all the deals that we need to do are there, and Zubimendi is starting, and Nørgaard is already there, and all these guys, I'll be okay with that. But we have to get the players that we need. I'm sure if you had to ask everyone in the chat right now, Eze or Madueke, who would you want to sign first? Many people would say Eze, so probably even 99% of you would say Eze. Between Eze and Rodrygo, I fancy Eze more about you. I wanted both, Susan. I wanted both. I would have preferred both of those ahead of Madueke, but we were told that it's separate. From the reports, we've been told that Eze and Rodrygo is definitely separate, both deals. If you go for Eze, it doesn't mean you're not going to go for a winger. That is what we've been told. And I'm sure someone else said as well that Madueke is not related to Eze, the deals. And I heard that Madueke and Rodrygo is not related as well. And that got us asking, like, surely they're not going to get all 4 players. If they're able to get all 4 of these players plus Zubimendi, because that is Zubimendi 55 million, Madueke 55 million, Gyokeres 60 million plus, Eze 68 million total, unless it gets paid in installments. And then you also talk about Rodrygo around 70 million. That's a lot of money. If you're able to do that without selling any players, then I'll know Arsenal are really, really good, in a really good spot financially. If you do all of that, I would expect Arsenal to sell Martinelli if we did all of that because of the money. But if you're able to do all of that and still keep Martinelli and Trossard, then that will be very new. That will be very, very new in terms of Arsenal. I think this one is going to be good, says Davies. Hopefully, though, let's wait for how it's going to go this July 1st in terms of the preseason. And also preseason, sometimes people say the preseason doesn't matter in terms of the results and all that. That is true, but you usually see how you're going to play. You see the way we played in 2023 season. the first time we were competing for the trophy against Man City. That preseason was good. Jesus was shining. We were beating Chelsea by 5 goals. We were scoring 5 goals against Nuremberg, and it was looking really good. Like, we already knew, like, okay, Zinchenko is looking really good in preseason. Jesus is shining. Saka is shining. Martinelli is shining. And all of them went on to have a very good season, and we almost won the league. The next season, it was also okay, the preseason as well. And then we went on to compete for the league title as well. But last season, if you saw preseason last season, starting from that Liverpool game, it wasn't great. I think we lost to Liverpool. I think we drew with Bournemouth. I think Man United beat us on penalties or something in preseason as well. Like, all of that was kind of showing you how the season would go. The previous season, we were beating Sevilla and all these guys by 6 goals, and it was looking promising. So let's wait and see how it's going to go against AC Milan and Newcastle and all these guys. And hopefully we are ready. I don't know what is the situation with Gabriel and Timber and all of these guys. Hopefully they're fit before then. Get Gyokeres in, and we can talk about others, minus Madueke, though, says Clara. So Clara does not want Madueke. Watching from Uganda, says Richard. I think Eze is a better option. We need Gyokeres, says Pino. Makak says, I'm watching from South Sudan. I'm Mike watching from South Sudan. Thank you, Balagan, as always, for watching. Geshem says, if you cannot pull off all the important Gyokeres deal, how can we dream of Rodrygo, for God's sake? Yeah, for the Rodrygo one, I'm not confident, as I've said, especially because you're paying 55 million for Madueke. Unless they know that Rodrygo is definitely not going to leave Madrid. Although, there's still so many other options. I'm seeing Adingra is going to leave Brighton for 20 million. Players like Kubo from Sociedad, and we have a very good relationship with Sociedad. Why not go and get another one from there? And then you look at other players that are leaving, like Bakayoko from PSV. Lookman, there's talks about him, Arsenal wanting him. Why can't we go for Lookman yet? So we don't know, man. But yes, as someone said on Twitter, I guess they know better. Let's see how it goes. We are stalling important deals because we are chasing Madueke. And the deal for Gyokeres was delayed. Glenn, we badly needing what is going on. Watching from Uganda. Yeah, I guess the one for Madueke is easier to do for them than the Gyokeres one, because Gyokeres one is 80 million plus that they want. But hopefully, again, I said, if you get Gyokeres and Eze, you can get whoever else you want. But at the moment, yeah, it's looking like we are pushing more for the Madueke one than the Gyokeres one. Joseph says, Eze, Gyokeres, and Mosquera, we are done with transfers. Let's not frustrate Ethan with this Madueke pursuit. Max Dowman will be like a new signing. I don't know how often he's going to feature, but let's see how it goes. For Ethan, yeah, it's looking like they're waiting for what you're going to do with Eze and Madueke and all these guys. Let's see. David says he wants a backup striker. At the moment, I don't think that is going to happen. Havertz is going to be the backup striker. Havertz is not going to be on the bench or be sold. He's going to play next season. Moses says, Clinton, watching from Kenya. We need a lethal striker like Gyokeres. Hopefully, we can get it done soon. Balagan says, instead of Rodrygo, why can't we go? Instead of Rodrygo, why can't we go for Lookman? I guess you mean. As we reported yesterday that Arsenal want Lookman. Arsenal have been in talks with Lookman, but the money is too much. So we don't know how much money that is. We don't know how much Atlanta want for him. So let's see how it goes. George says, why is this clueless average manager just signing this funny, useless, and brainless? My goodness, Chelsea reject. Funny looking thing is not good enough to play for Arsenal. I wish I didn't read that, but yeah, attacking looks. Nope. We talk about the football, not how people look. Let's see. What about Mosquera deal? Are you confident about that? Yeah, that one is an easy one. It's less than 20 million. Leave Madueke and keep Ethan. First of all, you need to get the Noni deal done immediately. Thomas says, I'm still trying to understand why any coach will prioritize the signing of Noni over Eze. How is it possible? We don't know. As long as we get to Eze and Gyokeres still, let's wait and see. But if we don't get Eze because we spent that money on Madueke, yeah, I'm not going to be happy with that. Gyokeres, we need Gyokeres. Roland from Liberia. Thank you, Pino, for watching. So that is all that has happened today. Those are the updates on Max Dowman and also Gyokeres and also Madueke, I mean, David Onstin and Fabrizio have confirmed it. So when those two confirm it, it's possibly going to happen for sure. Richard says, I'm watching for Uganda. I think as I read that one already. But yeah, if there's more news, we'll have another live show later on. But let's see how it goes. Let's hope we get some progress on the Gyökeres deal. Thank you for watching. I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.